All right. So I do have an outline here that I'm just going to bring up, but we're going to be talking about body image and the scale and how to stop letting that number determine our worth. And by the sounds of it, many of you are already there, which is amazing. And this isn't just about mindset, but kind of freedom. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you get to that point where you're not as concerned about the number, it is very freeing. But if you've ever looked in the mirror and felt defeated or stepped on the scale and let it ruin your entire day, which I think would probably be every single one of us at one point or another, this conversation will feel relevant. So I want to start with something simple but powerful. Weight and health are not the same thing. Weight and body composition are also not the same thing. The scale will tell you how much your body weighs, but it does not tell you what that weight is made of, how strong you are, how hard you're working, or how far you've come. And when most people think about getting healthier or fitter, they focus on losing weight. Of course, the idea of shedding pounds feels like the easiest way to measure progress. But what if I told you that focusing just on that number, you could actually miss the bigger picture? You all know your weight fluctuates every day based on how much water you drank, where you are in your menstrual cycle, how much you did or did not eat, the type of food you ate, your sleep, and your stress and your digestion. That's just being a human. So enter body composition. And this might sound like a technical term, but it's very important to pay attention to when it comes to your health. So, what is body composition? Let's start with the basics. It refers to the different components that make up your body. Instead of just looking at total weight, body composition looks at how much of that weight is fat, how much is lean mass, so like muscles, bones, organs, water. In simple terms, it gives you a much more accurate picture of your health. Two people who weigh 150 pounds, they might look the same, but be completely different inside if one has higher body fat and less muscle and the other has more lean muscle and less fat. So the takeaway here is it's not just about how much you weigh, it's about what makes up that weight. Your fat to muscle ratio definitely matters, and it's something the scale can't tell you. I am going to talk about ways you can measure these things shortly. So, when you're focused on just losing weight, you might think the scale is like your best friend and your worst enemy. And you probably all know that you can lose both fat and muscle. And while you might lose weight, you could actually be slowing down your metabolism or compromising your strength if you're not focusing on strength training while also eating a calorie deficit. So muscle is super important. We know this. I talk about this every week about the importance of muscle. Having more muscle on your frame burns more calories at rest than fat does. So if you lose muscle while trying to drop weight, you may be making things harder for yourself in the long run because muscle does weigh more than fat per unit of volume. So as you get stronger, the scale might stay the same or even go up a little bit, even though your body is changing. On the flip side, fat is essential too, but having too much of it, especially around your belly or organs, the visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, that can seriously impact your health. I'm no stranger to the fact that excess fat on the body has been linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and a ton of other chronic health conditions. So let's talk a little bit about metabolism. The more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate will be, meaning you're going to burn more calories even when you're not working out. So muscle can help you burn calories even while you're just sitting here. So if you're on a weight loss journey and you're not focusing on building muscle, you could actually long term end up with a slower metabolism, which makes it harder to keep off any weight you lost. This can be the concern with the GLP-1 medications, which for the record, I support anybody's decision to get on those, but oftentimes strength training is not a part of the bigger picture for individuals on these medications. So this is something that is really important for somebody on one of those medications is making sure that they strength train so they don't lose too much lean muscle mass. If you really focus on improving your body composition over like long-term weight loss, you could be setting yourself up for better long-term success. More muscle means you're going to be stronger. You're going to be more capable of doing physical tasks, no matter how basic. You're going to find it easier to move through your day, carry groceries, play with your kids or grandkids. And you might even notice that like everyday activities become a little less tiring. Having more muscle on your body also equates to better balance, better posture, and fewer aches and pains. That's because muscle helps support your skeletal system and makes your body more stable and less prone to injury. And I will tell you a very good recent example of this. My husband is a lineman for Verizon, and he had a 15-foot long, almost 1,000-pound telephone pole fall on his head a few weeks ago. If it wasn't for the fact that he is as strong as he is from lifting, I don't know if he would be walking. He's dealing with some neurological issues, yes, but he fared out pretty well, from an orthopedic perspective, and the doctor said it was because of how much he trains that probably saved his life. So, if nothing else, working out and building muscle can make you less prone to injury. So, that's not even about weight, that's just about, like, basic survival. So, focusing on getting stronger and building muscle and becoming the best version of yourself are all really good things. And kinda lastly, before I get more into body composition, when you focus only on weight loss, you get tied to the number on the scale. And scales don't always tell the whole story because you could be doing everything right. You could be eating healthy, exercising regularly, and still see little to no change on the scale. And this can be really frustrating and demotivating. But if you shift your mindset and focus on improving your body composition, you can start to see the bigger picture. Maybe your weight stays the same, but you look leaner. Your clothes fit better. Your measurements are going down. Maybe you have more energy. And when you focus on things like that truly matter, instead of obsessing over the scale, it can really help with your mental state when you step on the scale every day. So, how do you measure your body composition? There are several ways to do that. And obviously, a scale is like one tool, but it's not going to give you all the information you need. So, tracking your body fat percentage is one of the most reliable ways to measure body composition. This is the percentage of your body weight that is made up of fat. And a simple way to do that, you could get a body fat scale. I know some of you have one because I see the data in Trainer Eyes. What those usually do is they will use bioelectrical like signals that travel up through the body to estimate your fat percentage. You can also visit certain fitness centers and clinics will do things like a DEXA scan, or you can do the calipers or hydrostatic weighing. DEXA scans, there's a lot of places around here that do them. I have been considering doing one myself because I like data. There's a couple places in Saratoga and the Albany area that do DEXA scans. Another way to track your body composition is by taking measurements, which all of you do. So your chest, your legs, your hips, your waist, that will show if you're losing fat or gaining muscle. It's a great way to see how your body reshapes over time. And then progress photos. Sometimes the best way to notice changes is to look at your progress pictures and doing so in the same position, lighting, angle, and even outfit. That can really start to show changes in things like muscle definition, body shape, fat loss, even if the scale doesn't move much. And I look at those every Sunday and Monday when they come in and I'm on my phone comparing side by side, seeing if I can start to see differences in all of you. So the scale is one data point, it is not a judgment, and it is not a verdict. Next, I want to talk about non-scale victories. These are things that you can feel or achieve when you start making lifestyle changes. And unfortunately, the scale is usually the last thing to move, which is super frustrating. But there are so many other positive changes that can happen that don't have anything to do with the number on the scale. And truth be told, like you can gain weight and be healthier, you can lose weight and be sicker. So, what are some non scale victories? I kind of loop these into a couple of buckets. So, nutrition, um, trying new fruits or vegetables, listening to hunger and fullness cues, eating a balanced plate style meal, reducing high sodium foods. Those are all non scale victories. When it comes to physical health and activity, sleeping better, increased energy levels throughout the day, better digestion and feeling less bloated. And a big one is improved lab values. If you're somebody who does regular blood work, you may see your blood pressure improve or your A1C levels improve. You may notice you have better stamina endurance in your workouts and even better flexibility or range of motion and feel stronger during your workouts. And you might actually start to enjoy working out because at first it can be a bit of a grind. And then mentally, what are some mental non-scale victories? So improved mood and outlook on life, more self-esteem and confidence, reduce stress and feelings of anxiety, greater resilience and ability to cope with challenges, and probably a really important one is an improved relationship with food and with your body. So I'll open it up here. What's a non-scale win that you guys have had recently that you'd like to share? Or maybe one I missed?